Hi guys, and welcome to today's episode of Curveball, the podcast. Can we please just start by addressing Kayleigh's t-shirt, because it's absolutely hilarious. Love that. Today's episode...
Dump him.
Dump him.
That's what it says, FYI.
Today's episode is all about healing. We're going to chat what we learned in therapy. Therapy's so expensive, so if we can offer any insights, let us. We're going to talk a little bit about comparison culture, my experience with hypnosis. We're going to dive right in. But first up, little catch up, because we were talking about this before we came on. What have you been watching?
I am back in my Bridget Jones era.
I love it.
I mean, you know, the new movie's out now. Has anyone seen the new movie? It's a great movie, by the way. We went to see it at Valentine's, didn't we?
Yeah, we absolutely loved it.
We had
the best
Valentine's. But yeah, I am obsessed with Bridget Jones, and I think...
You are Bridget Jones, that's why.
Bridget Jones. Honestly, I've been called it for years. I will say this actually, do you know, about 12 years ago, when I think the second movie came out, one of my friends bought me the soundtrack, and he was just like, just because it's you. Aww. And I was like, that's really sweet. I've still got that as a CD.
Would you go for Mark Darcy or what's the other one called? Oh my God,
are we all right?
Hugh Grant. We know who we mean. Who would you go for?
Mark Darcy, of course.
Oh, see, I'd go for Hugh Grant, and that's everything that's wrong with me. Because he's just big fuckboy energy, isn't he?
Big fuckboy energy.
I know, but Mark
Huge.
Darcy.
Also, he died.
The thought of having sex with Mark Darcy.
I think the characters is
even
really
that.
cute.
He's so wet.
But he's so. Oh, what a guy. No,
he's not for me.
He'd just make a great dad, wouldn't he? Do you know? Is that a no-go?
It's a bit limp for me.
I just think Bridget Jones, in general, I've always been compared to her, you know, single, kind of out there.
She's got a Bridget Jones knickers on today.
I do have my Bridget Jones knickers on today. Yeah, I have the same lingerie. But she's, you know, she's so real. She's flawed, unapologetically herself. And I think it was really refreshing when Bridget Jones came out to actually see this. Even though, let's be honest, talking, you know, about her being overweight at a size 10, ridiculous.
I know. This is actually part of my keynote when I do my speaking. I talk about Bridget Jones because obviously from a body shaming perspective, she was a size 12 and she was like morbidly obese. And it's so interesting watching it now with everything that we've learned and how society is now and a bit more accepting and more conversation about it. It's interesting watching it back that that's the narrative that she's supposed to be morbidly obese. But also part of my keynote is that apartment in Borough Market is worth like £4 million. So she lives in this epic apartment. She's got a job as a TV presenter. She's beautiful. Like, she's got a lot going for her.
She's got two men after her as well. She has got a lot going for her. That's why I love her, because actually the character, in the end, she has got this great job. Yeah. She has got great friends. She's got a great family. And she's got these men as well in her life, even though she's not been successful in both. You know, she makes some mistakes, and that's what I love about Bridget Jones.
I think she's just very hard on herself. Yeah. She's a good example of someone who is just, she's not at the stage she wants to be at in her life, so she's so hard on herself throughout rather than just enjoying the journey.
Again, this is where we can speak about, you know, comparison culture.
Can women have it all?
And because, again, back in the 90s, 2000s, we saw women very differently to what we do now. And even when we go back to like the overweight, the smoking, the drinking, it was just seen as such a negative thing. It shouldn't be.
Just finished watching Bad Sisters on Prime or Apple TV.
So good.
Kayleigh got me onto this. Oh, it's so good. It's an Irish drama about these 5 sisters who basically murder their brother-in-law because he's a complete prick.
Spoiler alert.
Absolutely. No, that's the first scene.
Joking.
That is the first scene of the first episode. But, it was brilliant. I literally binge watched it in like 2 days. It was so relatable. The relationships between the sisters.
Love that.
If you've not seen it, you have to watch it. It's absolutely brilliant.
Because you've got sisters, haven't you? I actually sent it to my friends who were like, because I've got a lot of Irish friends as well, who have big families. Yeah. And I see the comparisons in them as well. It's really funny.
100%.
Like,
the way they speak to each other as sisters is completely me and my sister.
Is it?
Me and my sister were at the theatre the other night. There was this woman sat in front of us and she went, "Oh, she's got lovely hair." And I went, "Yeah, she has. She was just blonde. It was just a nice blonde." She went, "Yeah, it's really healthy." I went, "Oh, I do like a healthy blonde." Anyway, she looked at me, and if you're listening to this and not watching, she looked at me like this. My hair just gave me the dirtiest look up and down as if to say like, "Oh, your hair's dry and not healthy." I was like, "You cheeky bitch." She didn't even need to say anything. But that is completely mine and Leon's relationship.
Sweet,
like we just take the piss out of each other all the time.
And we laugh all the time. Actually, yeah, we really enjoyed it over Christmas. We binged that over Christmas. That was a really good one. Yeah,
love that.
It's a good one.
I also read some really good books Did you read?
I do read.
Yeah.
I listen to Audible more though now.
Interesting.
I listen, I'd say, probably one a week.
Really?
Yeah.
So I like a good book. I actually got a Kindle. My family got me a Kindle for my birthday.
Physically holding it.
Yeah, so I could take it on holiday, and I read some really good ones. I read Verity by Frida McFadden, which is like a psychological thriller.
Oh.
If you like a dark, twisty one. Oh, it was very, very good. Like, worth mentioning.
So you like
good.
fiction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good drama, psychological thriller. So I can kind of like lose myself in a story.
I love that. I might need to try something like that, you know. I might actually download that, because I feel like mine are all self-development, and there's only so much you can listen to without being overwhelmed.
There's only so much self-development you can listen to, and there's only so many murder books you can read. So I do one and one and one, because then after I'd read Verity, I reread Untamed by Glennon Doyle.
What's that one?
Have you not read Untamed?
No.
Oh my Lord, you're going to love it. I actually bought it for my best mate Fee, who was also friends with Kim, makeup artist who's on set, and she absolutely loved it as well. Hi, Kim. She absolutely loved it as well. Everyone I've ever recommended. Oh, it's amazing.
What's it about?
It's about Glennon Doyle. Do you know Glennon Doyle? No, okay, so she's another personal development speaker along the lines of Mel Robbins, Brené Brown.
Oh, okay.
She's brilliant. You'll absolutely love her. And she was in a marriage for years, and she's got kids, and then she realised that she was gay, and now she's got a new partner, and it's about her becoming untamed, basically. Like, the first page is one of my favourite pages of a book, and it's about how she just felt like she was trapped in this cage, and now her life is wide open, and about having the courage to live your life as the woman that you're supposed to be.
Oh, wow.
Courage, personal development, it's absolutely brilliant. So I read Verity and Untamed, and they're both incredible. Really, really good books.
That's interesting. Do you know what I referred back to? Because I always do. I always talk about the chimp paradox, but I'm not going to this time. Love the chimp paradox. You should read the chimp paradox in general in life, because it's just amazing. But You Are a Badass.
Oh, I've not read that. Who's that by?
Jen Sincero.
No.
Oh my God. She's got a collection of them now. I love Jen Sincero. She's amazing. She's an entrepreneur. She's just, she's funny as well. I listen to that whenever I'm feeling like poop, or I'm feeling a bit low in energy. You can re-listen all the time, especially on Audible.
I'm laughing because this is like how you watch House to Lose a Guy in 10 days after every date.
It's not that.
There's a theme.
It wasn't. You've got the wrong movie. You've got the wrong movie there.
Oh, he's just not that into you. Same.
See, I do have. I like the same patterns.
Spicy neuro, that, you know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like I go to bed with Family Guy.
I never knew that about myself. I used to eat like poached eggs on toast every single day for 6 months, and it's a spicy neuro thing. It's just when your brain is so overactive that you don't have the capacity to think about new things, so you just go for something that's comfort. You put on the same show, you eat the same food, you listen to the same music, because it allows your brain to relax in other areas.
That's very interesting. So I always revert back to You Are a Badass. Anybody who is a woman, an entrepreneur, that just wants to feel good about themselves, listen to that. It's great. You'd love it. And she's got different ones, like You Are a Badass at Making Money, in relationships. So, and it's just so easy. And honestly, when you listen to just even one chapter, feeling like I'm top of the world. I'm going to
download that.
It's really good. You want to
feel good. Should we talk about therapy? But before we do, on the topic of therapy, one of my favourite books, which will really help you if you're going on a therapy journey, is When You're Ready, This Is How You Heal. And I'm pretty sure, but please don't quote me, it's by Brianna West. But it's called When You're Ready, This Is How You Heal. And it's absolutely beautiful.
Is it?
All about healing. So let's talk therapy. Have you had therapy?
I have had therapy. I've had many years.
I've had a lot of therapy.
Different therapists as well. I've tried a few therapists out. Because I will just say, before we go into it, I think it's important to find the correct therapist.
Yes. I always say finding a therapist is like dating. I know so many people who've been to therapy, sat down with one person, not connected with them, and then come back and said, I don't like therapy. No. You didn't like that therapist. It's such a vulnerable space to be in. You need to meet someone who you're really comfortable being open with. There's just so many variables, and if you sit down and the energy's weird, or the room's weird, or something doesn't make you feel comfortable, you're not going to get the best out of it. So you might need to try 3 or 4 therapists before you find the one.
Completely agree with that. I think I did about 4 actually. Yeah, I did about 4. I went through 4 therapists, but like very early on, I just knew it just weren't clicking for me. They weren't really getting anything from me that I didn't know or was aware about. And I would just remember finding my therapist that I was like, you have been what I've been looking for. I just felt really comfortable. I think that's really important to do that, to feel comfortable speaking to somebody.
As part of my psychology degree, we had to do...
Soph has a psychology degree.
Yeah.
Just so, do you want to just like mention this again?
Yeah, so as part of my degree, we had to do a certain amount of hours of therapy. And what we also had to do was like peer therapy. So it was really interesting because we would practice on each other and then review that person's therapy style. So this is how I knew from really early on that certain people I was going to connect with and other people I wasn't, because I probably had 6 different therapists as part of that peer review session, and 2 of them got so much out of me. I would talk to them, I felt so comfortable, and the other ones I was really closed off. And one thing I found really difficult when I went to professional therapy that I started paying for was not therapizing my therapist. And what I mean by that is I sit down and say, how are you? How do you feel? So for me to switch out of therapist mode and into client, I found really difficult, and it takes a lot for someone to break down that barrier. And I don't know if you notice it, but when you get to know me well, a lot of people will comment on the fact that I'm very good at asking enough questions so that I don't have to talk about myself if I don't want to. So if I meet someone new and I don't want to open up, very good at digging, and we'll just keep digging on you because I don't want to talk about me. Yeah. So I had all of these tips and tricks on therapy, so it was really hard for me to actually open up.
Oh, so you've had therapy?
Yeah, I've had loads of therapy and hypnosis as well, which was amazing. CBT therapy, yeah, I'm a massive, massive advocate for it.
Which one would you find was the best for you at the beginning of therapy?
Probably CBT, which is more of like a talking therapy, and this is where you'll dive into, you know, like childhood stuff, which I know you've done a lot of, but also kind of sitting down and just like, how are you feeling and why are you responding to certain things in a certain way? I think the biggest thing for me that I learned in therapy was just getting to know myself better. So I always felt really different. And when I first went to therapy, I remember sitting down and being like, I don't know what I want from my life. I can't settle. I'm always craving adventure. I'm always craving change. All my friends are getting married and having kids, and I don't know if I want those things. And I've moved to Australia, and now I'm moving here and moving there. And I don't know what I want. I don't know who I want to be. I don't know what my life to look like. And then she said, are you happy? And I was like, yeah, I love adventure. I love to travel. I love this and I love that. And so she reframed. She said to me, what if you viewed your life as a big adventure and embrace the change and realize that actually who you are is someone who lives this big, colourful life that inspires other people to always, you know, crave more and has these beautiful friendships and these beautiful relationships and lives in different countries. What if that is who you are? What if that is your personality? What if that is what makes you happy? And it was the first time that I'd ever kind of thought, I don't have to do what everyone else is doing. I don't have to be like everyone else. I have to get to know myself. So that was a huge reframe.
She helps you get to that. Yeah, that's good.
One session.
Yeah, that's great, that.
Fantastic start.
God, done. 50 quid. Boom.
That was Louis.
Joking.
No, 250. I was in Sydney.
Holy shit. Okay, well, there we go.
Therapy was expensive.
Wow.
And I actually wrote down a quote along those lines that I saw on socials the other day. If you want to find what's right for you, you have to let go of what is right for everyone else.
Love that.
I love that so much. Yeah. Especially on socials, we get caught up in comparison and this person's just bought this massive 5-bedroom house. That's what I need to do. But it's like, but that's not right for me. Got to let go of that.
Yeah.
So let's dive into some quick fire. What did we learn in therapy?
Yeah. Do you want to go one each here? Okay.
Go.
Okay. So my first one is that what's happened in your past isn't your fault. I think we've all been victims in the past. And that's fine to embrace that and accept that. But living in the present as the victim is going to ruin the future. So I think it is more about, you know, sitting in that and taking it on, being aware of it, but also just moving forward with it and actually trying to grow from this and heal from that person that you was or what's happened to you, because that's not who you are in this present moment now. It's not defining you, your past. It's just making you a better person.
Yeah, I love that. I think knowing you as well and knowing some of the things that you've been through, you're a really great example of that, because it kind of comes back to generational trauma and we can choose to continue this victim mentality and victim cycle of this shit thing happened to me. So I'm going to internalize that, make that my entire personality, and then as a result, I'm going to put that onto other people and that will come out in behaviour.
Absolutely. And that's not where we want to be, is it?
No.
Because we're just going to keep going around the same cycles and then our children will. And this is what's happened with generational trauma.
And
That's huge. It's real.
You get one life.
You do.
So you can choose to live it in that victim state, but you don't get it again.
Well, exactly.
What a waste.
I want to wake up in the morning and say, I've been a victim of X, Y, Z. How is that going to benefit me in the future? It's not, because I don't want to be a victim.
No.
Being it, that's fine. We'll accept that and move on from that. And if you are struggling and if something horrific has happened in your life and you are struggling with that, this is where you get the help from now, because you probably do need to go over it. And I think it's actually leads on to another thing.
Okay.
Of actually, the quicker that you become more self-aware and face what's going on, the quicker that you are able to work on that and heal.
Absolutely.
Don't hide that shit, because it will always come back around. You keep pushing it down and pushing it down. It's not going to disappear. It's just going to blow up eventually.
I saw a really good visual of that on socials the other day, actually, and it was like balls that got smaller all the way up to bigger, and then bigger and down to smaller. And it was basically, if you face trauma now, then the ball starts huge. It's terrifying. It's head on, but then it gets smaller. Whereas if you avoid it, it just keeps getting bigger. Kind of leads on to my first point. So that was, if you're going through something right now, and I sent this to my friend the other day, actually, she has just had a stillbirth. And it's been absolutely horrendous. She's been so vulnerable and brave, and she shared it online, and she's just so inspiring. Hayley, if you're listening, sending you all my love. And I sent her this the other day, and it said, take it day by day. And if you can't take it day by day, take it hour by hour. And if that's too much, take it minute by minute. So if you're listening to something right now and you're really in the depths of it and really struggling, just take it literally minute by minute. It's just survival, and you've just got to get through that bit that you can get through. I really liked that, because I think sometimes saying take it day by day can even feel overwhelming.
Well, there's a lot of hours in the day, isn't there, to actually sit in your emotions.
Absolutely.
That's a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
That is very overwhelming. That's nice, that, actually, yeah.
Absolutely. My next one is, you are not your thoughts, no matter how intrusive they are. And what I mean by that is, sometimes when we've got these negative, awful thoughts in our day, we think that defines our personality. We think that they're so real and it's just a negative thought. An analogy that, again, Louise, my psychologist, taught me for this, that was so helpful, is that the sky is blue, yeah? We don't argue that the sky is blue. And just because it's a cloudy day, like it is today in Manchester, what a shock. Just because it's a cloudy day and the blue sky is covered in grey cloud does not mean that the sky is not blue. So I remind myself of that when I'm having a dark day, or I think something's the absolute end of the world. I think I'm not worthy. I think I'm a failure. I think my relationship's shocking because I've had one argument.
Thoughts,
The sky's still blue.
Exactly,
underneath all of the grey clouds.
Of course
so
it is.
that's a
I
good
like
one
that.
to remember.
I do like that. I've got one here which really helped me in my therapy process and healing journey in general. And I take this on a lot. Don't respond and make decisions when you're having a bad day or reacting to something.
Yeah.
This is key to life, this. This is when, again, I speak about this book all the time, The Chimp Paradox, when your chimp kicks in, calm that ego down. Calm down. Never respond when you're angry. Just have a minute, because our egos can kick in and we become more reactive when we're not in a comfortable position, right? And life isn't comfortable sometimes, unfortunately. So take a minute, go back to your calm. Even if it takes a few days, do not respond in negative ways like that and make a decision when you're not feeling good.
Solid life advice. To give you a visual on that as well, because of my psychology degree.
Wait, do you have a psychology degree?
I've got first class honours,
Oh my God,
Top 4% in the country.
Never.
This will make you laugh. I got an award, but I wasn't there on stage because I was in Ibiza. I didn't go to graduation, I went to Ibiza.
God.
I'm not staying in England all summer just to go to graduation.
What, to throw your cap in the air?
If that doesn't sum me up. But the visual to think about not making decisions on a bad day is if you imagine a wave that's kind of straight and then it goes up a big hump like a speed bump and it comes out the other side. The middle of that is your raw emotion. So you are platonic, you're feeling good, and then you have this crazy hump in the road of raw emotion. You cannot make a decision anywhere on that hump. You need to wait until you come out the other side and you're back in this platonic phase so that you are level again and you know that you're making the right decision. A really good example of this is if you're having an argument with your partner. So if you're having an argument with your partner, do not break up with them or make a decision at the top of that wave.
I know,
because it's just one bad bump come out the other side and then decipher whether that bump was bad enough to make that decision.
Can I ask you, do you live by this?
Yes.
Do you use this?
I do, massively.
Yeah.
And it really stopped me being reactionary.
Because you're very self-aware. We're both very self-aware, actually, and I think that's really important. But again, I think that's because we've had to be. We've done the therapy on it and we've worked on it. Because, you know, I've been around people that, oh my God, I actually...
Drama.
The drama. But also, like, the reactions to partners who they've been with for 15 years is so reactive. And I'm like... Why? I don't understand that. Because why are you not learning after all that time that that's obviously, it obviously works for them, but that's not a normal behaviour to me now.
I mean, I'm not perfect, don't get me wrong, but what I always am, like you say, is self-aware. So if I do react when I'm on that hump and I'm like in the raw emotion and I make a bad decision, then I have that time to reflect. I think the problem comes when you are constantly making decisions on a bad day and then you don't have the awareness of that behaviour and how to fix it.
That's exactly true, yeah. And I think that's one of the worst toxic traits that somebody can have is not having that self-awareness.
Can't argue with an idiot. It's infuriating when someone doesn't realise.
You can't educate folk.
Guys, we've just had a knock on the door. We had to take a short intermission from the Amazon delivery driver. And you said, oh, I know what that is. I'll tell you later. Is it a dildo?
Nope.
What is it?
It's not. I think you need to pipe down on this one.
Oh, I see. Is it a present for me? Right, okay. All right, we'll move on. It's not a thrusting dildo.
God,
I thought you might have tried some new ones.
No, I'm not showing you my thrusting dildo on the therapy freaking conversation, sir.
Well, we needed to break it up. It was getting heavy. We had an interesting conversation the other day about...
crystal dildo as well in there, just so you know.
Pardon?
My crystal dildo.
Say that louder. Use your voice. What did you say?
I said, you introduced my crystal dildo earlier, weren't you? I don't use that, by the way. I have a crystal dildo. It's an ornament. It's a nice ornament, but I smashed it.
Got a crystal dildo that's in 2 parts, and I came out the bathroom like, is this a dildo?
Yes, it is. It's a rose quartz, lovely
Beautiful.
crystal dildo. It's a lovely one.
Have you ever used a yoni egg?
No.
No, I haven't either. It's like an egg. I think it goes inside you. Do you know the ones I meet crystals? And it's supposed to be like spiritual healing and...
I've heard this actually. But now I've seen that that's been smashed on the side, I wouldn't trust that.
I think that's a bit of a bad omen. Is that like 7 years bad sex or something? I don't think smashing your crystal dildo can be a good thing. Sorry, hate to break it to you.
I did put it out for full moon as well.
I wouldn't charge it when it's in half. To be fair, it's massive. It's a more manageable size in half.
That's what I mean. It's fully charged that. It's got some right energy coming from it.
It's sharp. Don't put that inside you. Right, should we talk about trauma and therapy? We had an interesting conversation the other day about red flags. We were talking about relationships, but in general...
we weren't actually speaking about it randomly. And I said, I did a bit of journaling last night and it turned into an 8-page journal.
And then she sent me a screenshot of her journal.
And then Soph said, oh my God, how funny, because I was talking about the same thing yesterday.
Yeah, so I had been journaling at the same time as you and we kind of been journaling along the same lines.
But we didn't know that we were both journaling at the same time.
And it was about how early on in relationships... So I'm 3 years into my relationship now, and early on, you notice things about a person and you kind of like pass them off. And sometimes that's okay. They're red flags or they're like amber flags.
Ambers, yeah.
Sometimes you pass them off and it's fine because you know that they're actually not that big a deal. But more to the point, the things that you recognise on the 3rd date as, ooh, those little like gut
niggling
feelings are the things that 3 years on you'll be like, oh yeah, I knew that. And my body always told me that. And I'm not even saying that in a negative way. It's more just that your body knows. And if you're 3 dates in and your body is screaming at you that this isn't going to be right or this person does X, Y, Z, you're not
and
sure
you don't like that.
Not sure if you can trust them after 3 dates. You absolutely can't trust them, run a mile, listen to your body.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Or they have behaviours or things that you're not necessarily on board with. And try not to give too much away because of the conversation. But if they're displaying behaviours that you're not into at the start... Believe me when I tell you 3 years in, you will be having conversations with your girlfriends about how that is still an issue.
It always comes out in the end.
And we ignore them.
And this is the thing when you're starting to date someone and you're just seeing all the colourful butterflies and rainbows, and that is not how it is. No. I feel like I've gone into dating now very differently. I'm going very logically without the emotions in it.
Remove the serotonin.
I really have. Yeah. And I think I've had to, because I've said to you, you know, I showed you my little journal, like, I'm seeing things from somebody that I don't like from the beginning.
That you're not willing to tolerate.
I don't want to. I ain't tolerating, but I'm not tolerating some things that I don't like now.
I think as soon as you start making a list of things you do like and don't like, get out.
Well, that's it.
Do you know what I
I've
mean?
only been on 3 dates with a guy. For fuck's sake. Says it all, doesn't it?
So that leads me on to choose your dickhead theory. I can't remember if I've spoken about this on the pod before.
No.
I haven't. Okay.
Choose your dickhead. Oh, okay.
So me and my sister talk about this all the time. It's not a theory. It's just me and Leanne chatting shit.
I love that.
And it's basically when we're whinging about our men, the many men over the years. But when we're whinging about our men or our friends' men or whatever, I am a really firm believer, and it's actually quite a good thing to kind of ground yourself if you are starting to be a bit dramatic in choose your dickhead. And this counts for us as well. So none of us are perfect. We all have things that we bring to the table that are not as desirable, whatever it is that your red flags are. And choose your dickhead is about accepting those things. So i.e. you might have a partner who is super loyal, an incredible dad, listens to you, provides all these things, caring, but he doesn't buy you roses on Valentine's, or he might forget an anniversary, he's not very thoughtful. And it's kind of choose your dickhead in terms of like, do you want someone who's out partying every weekend but sends you roses? Or do you want someone who's super loyal and forgets an anniversary? Because you can't have absolutely everything.
You can't have everything. It takes
You've got to choose your dickhead. And it will kind of keep you calm in a situation where someone that you're with might not be behaving in a desirable way, but actually is at the end of the world because they're amazing at all these other things.
Exactly, yeah. So I get that. You choose your traits that you like and what you
So
work
we slag
on.
them off.
So again, it's about the same, isn't it? It's like us. You work on the positives.
But they won't work on them, that's the issue. However, we say, but they're an amazing dad, and they do this, and they do that, so choose your dickhead. And then we move on to our next conversation. Choose your dickhead theory.
Choose your dickhead theory, I like that. So this next chat then, because we'll go back to therapy. You spoke at the beginning about hypnosis therapy. Now, I want to know about this because I've never witnessed it. And I've never done hypnosis therapy. You have.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Fascinating.
Yeah, talk to me.
So me being me, very stubborn, Sagittarius, you know me, I'm very strong-minded, very strong-willed. I did not think anyone was going to be able to hypnotise me. And to be honest, I thought it was going to be a load of bollocks. I thought I was just going to be like, oh yeah, I'm pretending I'm hypnotised. No, I'm in there, I'm deep, I can't get out. It's an interesting feeling. So the first thing I'd say with hypnosis is you need to find a practitioner who you feel incredibly safe with.
Okay.
So the woman who did my hypnosis, she's called Sarah, she's in Sydney, she was incredible. Very spiritual, and we used to have like a bit of a counselling session almost, and it was just so healing and wholesome and beautiful, and there was candles and incense and crystals, and it was gorgeous. And then she'd put me in under hypnosis, and we'd go into like deep trauma healing, intense. And when you're in a hypnotized state, you are fully aware of yourself and your body. It's not like you're asleep, you're there and you know that you're hypnotized, you know that you're under and you can't come out. Yeah, so it's a crazy feeling. So it would be like if I wanted to open my eyelids, I couldn't.
Is it like that film Get Out?
No, it's beautiful. It's very peaceful.
Okay.
And then she took me through certain scenarios. So we did a bit of inner child healing. So one of the things she did, and I'll share this because it was actually really beautiful, is I never used to be able to talk about my parents' divorce or my dad telling me he was leaving, which I spoke about on the Heartbreak episode. Yep. I never used to be able to talk about that without crying because it was so emotionally raw. So what we did is this inner child healing in hypnosis, and this was better than any therapy I've ever had, is big grown-up Soph at my big age went back in to the situation and sat with little Soph, who was being told by her dad that he was leaving, and held her hand and gave her a cuddle and made her feel safe. Now, this was fascinating because my memory is shocking. I think it's to do with being neurospicy. The reason I always say neurospicy, by the way, is because I don't have an ADHD diagnosis. We know that's what's going on, but we'll stick to neurospicy because it's more fun.
And we like that word. It's better.
Spicy. So we did this hypnosis, and it's fascinating as to the memories that you store in your head that you don't know are there. So I'm in my mum and dad's bedroom from when I'm 8 years old, and I'm looking at the blue duvet with yellow flowers on it. I'm looking at the exact wood markings on the wardrobes, where the dressing table is, the colour of the carpet, things that I did not know were in there, and I didn't know that was the knowledge, but I am walking around this room and everything is absolutely as it was. It was bizarre, even down to what my dad was wearing, even down to being able to like look down at my little hands.
And that is your real vision.
That's my real vision. That's the real memory. So crazy. And then basically the hypnosis was about just letting little Soph know in that memory that's trapped in my head that's causing me this trauma, that she was going to be okay, and that big Soph was there for her, and that we got through it. And actually there was lots of happy memories that came from the separation, and everything worked out and all of these things. And it was just comforting her now. So now when I talk about the divorce, or when I tell this story, for example, which I wouldn't have been able to tell before without getting really upset, I can tell it really clearly because I'm sat there with her in my head.
Yeah.
So the whole frame of this memory is different because I'm there.
Yeah, so it's like healing the inner child and supporting the inner child.
Yeah.
Basically.
But it's really reprogramming your brain on the deepest...
That sounds amazing. I think maybe I could try that.
Absolutely.
I would love to try that.
Reprogramming your brain on the deepest level.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Would massively recommend hypnosis.
That sounds
Absolutely
amazing.
love it. You can do it for addictions.
Yeah.
It's really, really great for addictions because of what I've just said and the reprogramming.
Yes.
There's also lots of hypnosis that you can listen to. So Sarah, again, she has this River of Life hypnosis. I'll send it you. It's stunning.
Oh my God, yes,
it's
please.
a deep relaxation hypnosis. And within that, you will be hypnotized. So you'll feel exactly what I'm saying. You have to like jump down these stepping stones, like deeper into the hypnosis. And then you go down into the River of Life, and it's like this beautiful flowing water, and you drink from the River of Life, and you're visualizing it. It's fascinating. It's amazing.
This sounds amazing.
Oh,
I was like literally falling into it then. Like, can I go drink from the River of Life, please, right now?
Let's all go to the River of Life.
We should link this onto the podcast.
Absolutely.
There we go.
I've absolutely loved today's episode.
It's been a nice episode. I thought it'd get deeper than it would.
Get deeper if you like.
No.
You want to get into childhood trauma? Let's go.
Absolutely not today, guys. Let's keep it nice and light. We're going to go more into that into season 2.
I actually wrote today's episode, and when I sent it over to Kayleigh, she was like, oh, bloody hell.
I did. I was like, oh, God, I've just finished my therapy. Here we go again.
She was like, I'm putting my Dump Him t-shirt on to keep it light. No, I've loved today's episode, mainly because I think when we set out to do the podcast, and on the very first episode, we spoke about how we always wanted it to feel like a warm hug and a safe space.
Absolutely, and
I think you can't take away from the fact that not everyone, and there'll be a lot of people listening who don't necessarily have someone in their lives who they can have this conversation with. So it's really important that they hear it somewhere, and I hope that we've been able to kind of give you that warm hug and that safe space today.
I forget that some people don't have that around them, and I think it's really nice for us to sit and chat about things like this because it could help people.
Absolutely.
And I hope it does. I really do.
And if you've not got anyone else, then you've got us.
You have got us.
Thanks for listening to Curveball, the podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and watch us. Do all the things. We love you. We appreciate you.
We love your feedback, guys. Feel free to throw us a curveball of your own, and we'll see you next time.